I drifted to sleep and woke up almost flawlessly that next morning. No grogginess, no aches, perfectly energized and bright-eyed.
Man, how long has it been since I got that much good sleep?
I looked at my alarm clock. I woke up 10 minutes before my alarm.
Well, hey, I must be lucky today.
Karma owed me some luck. After all I had gone through in a merely handful of days, I deserved to get some good luck. Ecstatic for the day ahead, I turned off my alarms before they could ring and got dressed. However, my phone started to quickly buzz from an oncoming text.
Huh? Who's texting me this early?
Yo, Anderson! You're carpooling with us from now on. We're not letting you waste your money on a bus. Get ready and be at your gate at 7 stat.
I smiled. My friends were the best. I couldn't drive yet and I didn't have a car, so it was awesome that my friends would let me carpool. I checked the time, 6:30.
Perfect, I can eat some breakfast before they come.
I packed my bag and carried it downstairs toward the kitchen. As I entered the dining room, I saw a plate with eggs, toast, and bacon sitting on the table. A fresh, steaming cup of coffee sat next to the plate with the sugar and creamer on the side. I walked to the table and couldn't believe what I was seeing.
Who made this?
As I spoke aloud, a small red note caught my attention.
Have a good day, yours.
My heart skipped a beat as I finished. I could tell it was from one of the boys. Maybe it was from him. I smiled before putting the note in my bag and eating up. The food was so delicious, I devoured every amazing bite. I looked at the time again. Time to go. I quickly rushed to the doors, checking myself in the passing mirror. I wasn't wanting to impress anyone, but I still needed to look decent. Before I could reach the handle of the door, however, someone took my hand.
Huh?
I turned to see James, who was holding my hand back with a concerned frown on his face.
My name.
Your name?
My true name isn't James, miss. I want you to know my real name if something were to happen.
His true name? What did he mean? Why was he telling me this now? James gently pulled me to him and leaned close to whisper in my ear.
My name is Ray Strow.
Ray Strow.
As he said his name, I could feel it lock into my memory. Something in my head told me I would never forget it. It's funny that she says that because I completely forgot what his demon name was. And I was like, oh boy, we're finally going to find out James' demon name. As if we haven't already heard it in 4 different routes. I completely forgot. Anyway. Yeah, Ray Strow. James pulled away and smiled at me, despite still carrying worry in his eyes.
If you're in any danger, call my name. I promise that I'll come and help you.
I stared up at James, unable to say anything. I could only nod in response. James smiled before kissing my hand and heading into the dining room. Something told me that name would be used eventually. It's called plot. And right on cue, Naomi drove up to the gates with Suzu waving me down. I rushed out the door and we headed to school, talking about the homework in the coming day. We made it into the school without a hitch. Our lockers were in the same part of the hall, so we quickly unloaded what we needed to and got our important books and necessities. First incident of the day. As I walked towards Suzu and Naomi, oh, it's just the Lizette falling shit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, do we have to go through this again? As I walked towards Suzu and Naomi, who were both waiting for me on the opposite side of the hall, something hooked my ankle and made me fall forward.
Well, ow!
Hey, are you okay? Who did that?
Oh my god. I just realized she looks like Lizzie McGuire.
Oh my god!
I'm having so many epiphanies right now.
Hello, childhood.
Oh my god. The 3 of us looked back to see Lizette and her gaggle of girls. Lizette had a look of complete innocence, while the girls around her giggled like no tomorrow.
Ooh, so clever.
Why, you little... Suzu, don't!
I felt a giant fire of anger burn in my stomach as I stared at Lizette. Today was not the only time this had happened to me. However, it was now clear who was behind these incidents.
I was like, seriously? What the fuck? Like, why are you so obsessed with me?
Why are you so
Please
obsessed
just live
with
your
me?
own life.
Even if she was innocent and one of her goons did it, it was now obvious that Lizette was the mastermind just from the look on her face. She was no friend, nor would she ever be. I had to do something. Yeah, well, we'll just walk away. No. I wasn't going to bring myself to her level. She was a bully, but I was not going to let her get to me. I had to be stronger than her, and only then would I have beaten her. I stood up and brushed myself off, pretending nothing had happened.
Anderson, you okay?
That was a pretty bad fall. Yeah, I'm fine. A fall like that is nothing.
I merely smiled at them, not wanting them to know the pain rushing through my body from that fall. My arms were quaking, my shoulders were pulsing, but I remained content-faced. I quickly gathered up my belongings and nodded to my two friends.
Come on, we'll be late for history.
Suzu.
Uh-huh.
Yawn. Suzu and Naomi looked at each other before frowning and nodding to me. Naomi and Suzu flanked me as we began to walk down to the class away from the gaggle of bullies. As we walked, I could barely see Suzu flipping the middle finger to the group behind us from the corner of my eye. Peace, bitches!
Bunch of Lisette feet lickers.
That's gross, Suzu.
It's true. It's all OMG! Lisette is the best! Let's follow her around because we obviously don't have lives.
Naomi and I could not help but laugh. The group behind us, however, did not like Suzu's words. You know, I never really get this in like any sort of like popular Mean Girl situation where they just like have like a gaggle of people who mindlessly follow them.
Yeah, like I don't think that happens in real life.
I don't think that happens, but it's in like any
like, you
form
always
of
have
media.
that popular it crowd, but like there's
Yeah,
never
it's
like one queen. There's just a group of girls or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's so weird to me when I see these kind of things in media. I don't know.
At least my dad doesn't screw around in the black market to keep a stupid casino running.
Suzu stopped. Naomi and I stopped as well to look back at Suzu, who was completely red in anger. Suzu slowly turned to head to the group, glaring daggers at them.
The fuck did you just say?
I had to act fast. I placed my hand on Suzu's shoulder and gripped tightly, knowing she could try to push my hand away.
Suzu, they're not worth it. Let's just go.
No, I think it's about time we taught them some manners.
Suzu!
I looked at Lizette and her group. Lizette had a widely amused smile on her face, which irked me to no end. Nevertheless, I knew that fighting wasn't going to get us anywhere.
Let's go.
I grabbed Suzu by the shoulder roughly, pulling her back to Naomi and me. Suzu tried to step towards the group, but Naomi held on to her shoulder. We held on to Suzu, who fought against our hands as we marched to class. Surprisingly, the rest of the school day went off without another incident. I went to my classes, had lunch, and was anxious to get home. As the bell rang for school to end, I felt my phone vibrate in my pocket.
A text from Dad?
I'll be picking you up today. What the fuck is this voice? Because we know this ain't the dad, and that's why it's not voiced.
That's kind of a surprise.
I quickly headed back to my locker and got my things before waiting for Naomi and Suzu.
Hey, are you ready to go?
Actually, my dad's picking me up.
Really? Okay, I guess that kind of makes sense. We'll
Does
drive
it,
home
Suzu?
together next time.
It
Tell
does
your
not.
dad that
My
we got
dad
you
hates
covered
me.
from now on.
The game
Yeah.
dad.
Oh, right.
Even while I laughed, something didn't seem right. My dad texted me to say this. Why was he going to pick me up? Had I done something wrong? I didn't know.
Does your dad even know how to text?
I need to
businessman.
text because the stock market's for eggs. I waved goodbye to Naomi and Suzu before heading off to the usual spot where my dad picks me up. I took the time to listen to my music while I waited.
I need to go to another Rise of the Phoenix concert.
Eventually, I had played the entire album with no one showing up.
But hey, Dad's never late, especially not this late.
I quickly dialed my dad's number again, but as soon as I pressed call, it disconnected and read a signal disconnection error message.
What the? No signal error? How do I not have a signal?
I double-checked my phone and saw all 5 bars for signal.
He must be in a dead zone.
Ha ha ha! Before I could finish, a group of hands grabbed at my hands, feet, and covered my mouth. I screamed into the hand over my mouth, struggling to pull away from the hands grabbing at my limbs. It felt disgusting and scary, feeling their hands on me. I needed to stop.
Hey! Don't dirty up Malix's prey!
The voice, which sent a fearful shiver down my spine, whispered into my ear.
You're coming with me, Miss Anderson.
I couldn't fathom what was happening. Before I knew it, I was blindfolded and my limbs were quickly tied up. I felt myself being carried somewhere and was shoved into something that echoed the interior of a bus or a van. The doors closed and off I was taken. All I knew was I was in trouble. Double. All I saw was darkness. I felt numb as I was taken to a place I didn't know of. I couldn't even move my lips to scream. Sounds zipped past my ears. First of the interior of a car, then the outside, then an echoey space with whispers and cackles of people vibrating through it. Yeah. However, the wrap around my eyes was eventually removed from my face and my bonds were cut. It took a while for my eyes to adjust, but I found myself in a warehouse, surrounded by devils, including Malix, who was smirking at me.
Nicely done! I'm sure those little shits will come running to find you when they realize you didn't return to your precious little mansion. They'll search everywhere for you.
Malix walked over and set the barrel of his gun against the skin between my eyes.
It'll be so funny when they find your dead body instead.
Registro!
Hey! All of a sudden, a bright purple light engulfed the room, causing the devils around me to cover themselves.
What the?
Gusts of wind rushed past me, almost forcing me back. I covered my face with my arms, bracing myself and standing my ground. I tried to peek through my arms to see what was going on, but the light continued to shine brightly. As the gusts slowly started to die, the light began to fade, revealing James pointing a strange golden gun behind Malix's head. What the fuck, James?
James!
It's all right now.
James Bond!
Oh!
Oh my god! Malix stared wide-eyed behind him, unsure of what to do. He had no time to react in case James pulled the trigger. He was struck. He stuck, feeling the presence of James' golden gun that was ready to lodge a bullet into his skull.
Well, it seems like I finally have your cooperation, Malix. It took long enough.
You piece of demon shit! I could shoot you right now.
And what's stopping me from shooting you first? If you so much as flinch, I will pull this trigger and end you once and for all.
Might as well just do it then.
The remaining devils stared, trying to figure out what to do, help Malix or watch in silence. Eris, however, walked up beside me and crossed her arms as she watched with an amused smirk on her face. Malix growled, obviously annoyed at the predicament he was in.
What is stopping you, pretty boy?
Just me wanting to do this.
What you say?
Oh my god!
He's gonna like torture him.
Okay. With no hesitation, James quickly moved his gun and shot both of Malix's hands. The gun dropped from Malix's shot hand onto the ground as he knelt over in pain, holding his hands to his chest.
You son of a bitch!
Before Malix could finish his sentence, James aimed the gun once again at Malix's head, causing the devil to stop talking once again.
I didn't say you could speak. Do you want me to shoot you in the throat?
I stared at James in shock. Was he playing with Malix? He seemed to act like a cat poking a sharp claw at a wounded rat. It was warranted, but not what I expected of James at all.
No. I'm going to give you 3 seconds to get on your knees to beg for forgiveness. Or, the next bullet goes through your pathetic hellborn skull.
James, I think you're mixing your pleasure with your business here. Malix hesitated, but eventually ended up on his knees. However, as he settled onto the ground, Malix wrapped his arms around James' leg and dug his teeth into it. I gasped, remained still as I watched James aim and fire a shot into Malix's back. Malix released James' leg in shock, trembling at the newfound pain. However, for some reason Malix didn't fall over and die. He remained still staring ahead of him in pure shock and pain. I could only watch in silence as James lifted his leg out of Malix's embrace and kicked Malix to his side.
Disobedience until the very end, huh?
The air instantly went from frantic to still in energy. What could have been described in tone as the color red quickly turned into a deadly mix of purple and gold as everything began to blend together all at once. I stared as James seemed to grow more menacing toward Malix. However, he quickly looked at me with a face of concern.
Please, forgive me for this.
I grew confused, but wasn't allowed to think on it as James looked back down at Malix once again. James' eyes began to glow bright gold as James lifted Malix by his collar and pulled him up and off the ground.
It's high time you discovered the true power of demons.
James' voice had changed, sending a large shiver down my spine. His appearance also started to change, but before I could clearly see what James was becoming, my eyes were covered.
It's me. Don't look.
I listened carefully and let the last two words linger in my mind. Don't look? Why? What was being hidden from me? I wanted to know, but something told me to obey Damien's command. I could hear Malix struggling to get out of James' grasp and the rich, bright sound of magic being cast. I struggled with myself to obey Damien's word, locking my arms to my sides to deny myself the chance to pull Damien's hands off of my face.
Let me go!
Ah! What happened?
As you wish.
The sounds of demonic screams and cries bellowed all of a sudden, causing me to tense up in Damien's hands. Malix began to scream in agony, straining as if he was being pulled somewhere against his will. Malix's voice began to trail out into an echoey whisper as the magic sounds in the air consumed his cries. Soon enough, the cries and whiffs of magic stopped, leaving the air as silent as it could be. However, Damien didn't remove his hands.
Jeez, James. Haven't seen you use that trick since the intruder in Demon Castle. But you're losing your touch. You even lost your glamour spell.
It couldn't have been helped.
Glamour spell? What did he mean? Why did James sound so different? Why was this being hidden from me?
It's a spell that makes us look human.
I froze. Look human? They didn't look like humans after all? What did they look like?
Like demons.
That doesn't explain my question, Damien. As if Matthew knew what Damien was talking about, Matthew spoke up, followed by the sound of a cork popping out of a bottle.
Well, not for much longer. Here.
Thank you, Matthew.
I could hear the small clinking of glass being passed before hearing James guzzle down a liquid of some sort. The stiff feel of the air around me gently began to warm back up, insinuating that everything had been returned to normal. Finally, Damien moved his hands from my eyes, allowing me to see around me once again. The devils, including Eris, had fled. Malix was now nowhere to be found. The boys, however, had gathered around me, all of them, including James, looking like nothing had happened. I tried to speak, but everything zipped around in my head at the whole event, and I felt like speaking was impossible.
Let's just get you home, miss. There's nothing more to see here.
I could only nod. What had happened boggled my mind to the point of disbelief. I was second-guessing everything, lost in a sea of what and how and when. As we walked out of the warehouse, I looked at James for some sign that I wasn't dreaming. James kept his eyes forward, unable to look at me. It was over. Malix was gone and the boys were finally safe. A wave of relief ran through my body at the thought of never having to deal with that group again. At the same time, a ping of realization hit the back of my mind. The boys were only going to stay until after Malix was defeated. That was our deal.